and welcome to 5280 Film Room. We're a Colorado sports podcast by fans for fans. I'm Alyssa.
I'm Gideon.
I'm Miles.
And I'm Jordan.
And today we're going to talk a little Rockies, Broncos, and a sprinkle of Nuggets at the end. Get ready. The Colorado Rockies played a 4-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals, followed by a 3-game series against the Milwaukee Brewers, and managed to win 1 game in each of those series. So out of the last 7 games, they've only won 2, which definitely feels like a bit of a slump.
Rough start for August.
We've been playing some really hard teams, though.
That's fair, Gideon. Yes, They have been very good teams. But nevertheless, what's a little disheartening is it feels like the reason we've been losing these games, is the same problems we really struggled with earlier this season. A flailing and floundering bullpen.
Yeah, and not enough offense. Like, the starting pitching has been great throughout the last few weeks, but the bullpen has crumbled and the offense has been average at best.
It was great in July when we were able to put both facets of the game together.
Towards the end.
Yeah, we had a great July, but
It was a great stretch there. It just felt
where
like
we
everything
put
was
both
clicking.
our bats and the pitching up to what we know is the standard for the Rockies.
And what needs to be happening in order for us to compete in the NL West.
Yeah, based on our roster.
Yeah, after dumping so much money into our pitching, we definitely need better performances from our bullpen. But like you said, Miles, it was really nice to see them, win 7 games over a 10-game stretch to finish out July, and also be putting up 6-8 runs in a game.
Right.
I mean, that's exciting baseball.
Yeah, because with the Rockies, they've been averaging about 4 runs per game over those last 2 series against the Cardinals and the Brewers. And that's the league average is 4. But the Rockies, they typically average between 5 and 5.5. And that, if they would have just been able to do that, then they would have won a few more games.
They were close games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But we
had
lost
the
by 1 or
offense
2 runs.
performed the way we know they can, both series could have had much different results.
Yeah. Nolan Arenado, he was the champ today, hitting that home run in the 11th inning. It's like, that's the guy that you want to win games for you, because I think he's the best player on the team. So it's like, I was happy to see that. Like, you have your best player up there, and he wins the game for you in the 11th inning.
Yeah, today's game went into extra innings, obviously, like Jordan said, the 11th inning. To end the game, Sang-Won Oh had an incredibly athletic play. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, so it was the bottom of the 11th. There was a man on first and a man on second. The Rockies were up by 1, so the Brewers needed to get 1 to tie the game to take it to the 12th. And it was a ball that was hit to Ian Desmond at first base, but it was hit to his right, so he had to go towards second base. So he got the ball through to Trevor Story, who was covering second for 1 out, and then Story threw a bad pass. I don't know.
Bad pass? A throw?
A bad throw to first base, and Sang-Won Oh, he had his toes on the base, and he was reaching way out with his glove to catch the ball, and he got it, and the guy was out.
It was originally called...
He was called safe. But then they reviewed it, and he was out.
Nice.
And, the fact that, he had his toes on the base, but he was so stretched out.
I was impressed for a 36-year-old pitcher.
Yeah.
That was an incredibly athletic play.
Right? It's every day it looks like the trade that they made was such a great trade.
Well, it seems every time he goes out there, he wants to make that extra effort to maintaining his exceptional ERA.
Mm-hmm.
And, even though he's only going out and pitching, maybe an entire inning when he does pitch, it's good to see that even at 36 years old, he's, got some fire behind him and he wants to win. And, sometimes when players get traded, you think maybe there's some bad blood with the old team, or maybe he doesn't like the new team, but it just seems like this guy wants to play good baseball, and he's ready to do whatever it takes to make sure that we get the W.
And he looked so happy after the win. like he just had such a big smile on his face. Like he just looks so gratified, and it's like it seems like he's happy to be playing for the Rockies.
And seeing him celebrate with his teammates was really just a fun moment if he is so new to the team. But the team's a team, and when the team gets a win, you all celebrate together. And it seems like his passion and his dedication to bringing victories is being appreciated and recognized by his teammates.
Well, I mean, we got a lot of young dudes on this squad, and I know they're always trying to be fired up to go out and win. So, I mean, it's good to see someone a little bit older and still be able to keep up with these not little guys, these younger gentlemen. But, I mean, going back to, like, Arenado saying earlier in the season, like, you want to play for a winning team. Like, you don't want to just stay and either have a losing season or just miss the playoffs. Like, especially for a player of Arenado's caliber, you want to be playing on a good team that's going to be competitive and hopefully contend for a championship. But having Sang-Hwan Oh as a closer now, I know he's been pitching more like 7th, 8th innings. I think if we can rely on him in the 9th inning or in these extra inning situations, he's going to get us out of some really tight spots. And so far, he hasn't given up a run since being on the Rockies. And I think that if he does get into a good closing position with us, we'll avoid giving up these late game leads and either losing or going into extra innings.
Well, it brings up the question of how are they going to structure the bullpen? Just because Wade Davis, he's the closer. He's still the closer. I don't think
is he
pitched.
though?
Yeah, he didn't pitch tonight because he's been pitching a lot. Like it was a break. So Wade Davis,
Maybe O will give him some less playing time, but more consistency. But
That would be great.
it'd be huge.
But you can't really have two closers. Like you got to have that one guy. And Ottavino came in the 9th today and gave up 3 runs.
He was
like if we were gonna replace Davis with somebody, I would have thought it would have been Ottavino.
Who says we can't have 2 closers?
With all the extra innings we're going into,
Right.
we might need 2 closers.
But it's like the closer, like it's just such a different mentality being a closer. Like knowing that you are going onto the mound, your team is leading, and how you pitch determines if you win or if you lose. Like it's just such a different mentality.
I mean, you got to go up there basically with the mentality that you're going 1, 2, 3 outs. Like you don't want to give up any hits. Maybe
No walks.
1, definitely no walks.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're hoping for strikeouts and groundouts. So.
Yeah, because I'm just curious to see how, like, at the end of the season, what the Rockies bullpen actually looks like. Because I like Wade Davis. I think he's a great pitcher. But I would be open to having O or Ottavino taking his role as a closer. But then you run the risk of taking Wade Davis out of his current role and just ruining his confidence. And putting someone into his role that maybe can't handle it. Like, you look at Ottavino, he blew the save. He had a 3-run lead, and you let 3 runs go past the plate.
I think Ottavino's better in the 7th and 8th.
I agree.
Yeah. I would
Keep
agree
Davis and O as rotating closers.
But then, like, I think we have 3 guys that can pitch the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. If you have O and Davis switching spots, who's going to pitch the 8th inning?
Ottavino pitches 2.
That's
a lot.
pushing it.
Yeah.
It's pushing it, but I mean,
If he's pitching 3 or 4 nights a week,
yeah.
If you do 2 innings, you're limiting yourself to like once or twice a week at that point.
yeah. So I think we have the 3 guys that we need. It's just how they're going to be arranged. I don't know. I think Davis will be the closer from here on out, but I would be open to the idea of having someone else try that. But then you take the risk.
What about Shaw?
the guy who's been a shit show?
Yeah, I mean,
He came in and pitched the other night when the Rockies had a 4-run lead, and it's like that's a demotion. Like, he used to be the 8th inning guy where it's like, we have a 1-run lead, just keep that. Now he's the guy where it's like, we have a 4-run lead, just don't fuck it up. You could allow 3 runs, just
still
don't
finds
allow
a
4.
way.
Yeah. So Brian Shaw's a good pitcher. He's one of the most consistent players in baseball over the last 4 or 5 years. He's just been so bad this year. So hopefully he can figure it out for the rest of the season.
What if Shaw is more of like an early relief pitcher, and then if he can ride it a little bit longer with Ottavino, they rotate and then have kind of them two as the reliefs with O and Davis playing closer. Obviously, it's always going to be situational based on the game, but
Oh, yeah.
And different batters
based on, yeah,
have different hot spots, and you want different pitchers, especially with.
it gives us more flexibility versus a more wide variety of teams and batting styles. It's just a thought. I mean,
It's an interesting idea. You just have a
Yeah.
limited number of pitchers.
oh no, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and you made a really good point earlier, Jordan, saying like when you're taking 2 players and swapping their roles, you run a very great risk at making one or both of them uncomfortable in the situations that you're putting them in. If one person's more used to closing out and now he's, 6th, 7th inning relief, now that mentality has changed when you go up on the mound, and you might even pitch worse. But then doing it with 2 individuals, like just probability, like it could happen to both of them. And then instead of only losing by 2 or 3 runs, we're losing by 6 or 7. And that's not a position that the Rockies want to be in, especially with how the NL West is loaded right now. Within, we got the Diamondbacks, the Dodgers tied in first right now, and then the Rockies are only 2 games behind. So
And the Giants are right behind us, too.
yeah,
They're
5 or
games.
6. Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, we don't want to run the risk at dropping to 7 games behind
Exactly.
just because we tried doing too much. Like
I'm not
something's
saying
broken, but we got to definitely try to figure out how to fix it. But I don't
Well,
know.
the
It's gonna be
talent's
interesting.
there. Like, all these guys are super talented. It's just, they just have not been consistent. Like,
What do you attribute that to?
that's
Sorry.
a great
no-
question.
Loaded
mean-
question.
That's the other thing is like even though we have really great pitchers, like they have the track record presenting them as good pitchers, they're also still pitching to other professionals that are good at what they do. And I mean, whether you're giving up home runs or doubles, like the guys on the plate batting also have a job to do. And
Exactly.
I mean, going into extra innings and winning in Milwaukee is really nice to see. But I definitely think we needed to win at least 2 of these games.
Well, it also shouldn't have
we
gone
need,
to
we
extra
need,
innings.
No,
No.
it shouldn't have gone
we
to
were
extra
up by
innings.
3 in the 9th inning.
We need better consistency in.
It's not acceptable.
Well, Ottavino threw 2 balls that were way off the plate. And Tom Murphy had to go chase them. Like, that's why he got tired.
It was just so sloppy. And there's one thing to get bested and to lose a game. But
Well, they
Ottavino's
stepped
play
on
was
their own
so
foot. Yeah,
sloppy. It was so just like self-destructive that it made me feel concerned
Yeah.
about his ability to do his job.
Well, when you look at the 2 best pitchers for the Rockies, it's Freeland and Ottavino right now. And Ottavino, he's been the most consistent out of any pitcher, and you put him in the 9th inning role, and he gives up 3 runs.
Well, and the reality is, these professional athletes are human. There's no telling what's going on in any individual's life. And just reading Ottavino while watching that inning, he was off.
Yeah.
He was off. He was not there. He was not focused. He seemed to be a little bit in la la land. And I definitely got the impression that he just was not as mentally present as he needed to be to deliver. And
Yeah.
that's where management comes in. You have to know your players, know the kind of day that they're having, because the reality is they're all human. and I don't think he should have put.
Did he have breakfast this morning?
I'm guessing no. Well, I think like he was afraid of the strike zone because Adam Ottavino. So he has one of the best sliders in baseball, and his slider breaks between 12 and 18 inches. So if you imagine it, like it looks like it's coming, maybe right in the middle of the strike zone, but right at the end it cuts 18 inches. And it felt like he was aiming towards the edge of the strike zone, so then it just went way out of the catcher's reach. Like he wasn't starting his slider in the strike zone, he was starting at the edge of the strike zone, and then it went behind the catcher.
And he knows better.
Yeah, he does. But it's just such a different mentality pitching the ninth inning than the eighth or the seventh.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Because how you pitch is going to determine if you win or if you lose.
And what we gave up 2 walk-off homers against the Cards?
Ooh.
I know one for sure, but I think the same dude did it back-to-back nights.
You're probably right. I remember one, and I remember one walk-off from the Brewers. So it may have been 3 within a week.
So that might justify, well, not justify, but kind of
be a contributing factor
to him avoiding the strike zone, because I've already been in that position.
He's antsy.
Whereas, like, giving up a walk-off and you lose, it's like, well, that sucked. Like, there's no going back. You can't fix it. There's no saving the game anymore. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
And to me, that kind of makes sense that Ottavino's like, I don't want to give up a walk-off, especially after already giving up a couple runs and it's tied. That might be a contributing factor to him just trying to avoid it altogether. Don't give them anything to hit and they won't hit it. But then
exactly,
if you're walking and then throwing wild pitches, giving up free bases, all of it adds up over time. And I think it was a good learning experience for him in that closing position. But do you think it's too much for him?
Based on what I saw today, yeah. It's only one game, but like if anybody else would take the closing role besides Davis, I would want it to be Ottavino. I mean, in baseball, everybody makes mistakes, so it's just one game. But based on what I saw today, I think it is too much for him. Because he was just so inaccurate when he's usually pinpoint.
He was off. He was just off. He had a bad day.
Mm-hmm. Well, no looked great. Like, he gave up a couple base runners, but like he recovered from that. He
never looked flustered.
Yeah.
He never looked like he had a moment where he felt the game got the best of him. Even when he gave up those couple hits, he felt like he was in control. His demeanor suggested to me that he still felt completely in control of getting the win.
Yeah.
And I did not get that from Adam at all.
No. Like his stuff isn't nasty. Like, he doesn't have an overpowering fastball. He has a really legit forkball, for sure. But, like, his stuff isn't super nasty. Like, Ottavino's stuff is nasty. He throws a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and then he throws an 80-mile-an-hour slider that cuts 18 inches. Like, it's nasty.
Keeps you on your toes.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it just seemed like O had just so much more confidence being on the mound in the extra innings.
It's definitely going to be interesting to me, at least, to see how, if any changes occur within our bullpen, whether pitchers get moved around from one inning to the next. But we've got Pittsburgh followed by the Dodgers at home. So the Dodgers is going to be a 4-game series. So I think this is a good opportunity for the Rockies to kind of hit the reset button once again, and hopefully put together. I'm expecting 5 wins over these next 7, but the only way to do that is get back to consistency. I think our bats are going to get hot again coming back home. Who doesn't like to hit at Coors Field, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've got DJ back at second base now, and back in the lineup.
Was this his
Hampton
first?
is great.
Was this his first day back today?
He's been back for a couple
games. Okay.
Yeah. And he's looked fine. Take a little DJ, 1 out of 3. Maybe a home run every once in a while, but and his defense has been really great.
Yes.
So we're glad to have him back for sure.
And it's just unfortunate that the bullpen struggles are back in action once the starting pitching has finally gotten to a place where it's just been so consistent. I mean, there's been moments throughout the season where they've been really consistent, but they've been reliable, they've been on top of it,
Yeah.
and then the bullpen's falling.
Well, Sans Anderson
Yeah.
against the Brewers, he gave up 7 earned runs over 7 innings against the Brewers. The 8 to 4
that's
loss.
bad.
How do you end up pitching 7 innings after giving up that many?
Grand slam
They
in the
were.
first.
Yeah.
They earned 6 runs in the first inning.
Wow.
So that's hard to just come.
Wow.
Yeah, you yank
So-
your starter after one. It's
Yeah.
Right.
counterproductive.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So over 6 innings after that, he gave up only 1, which is good. The grand slam is obviously leaves
No.
much to be desired from a pitching standpoint.
Well, like you said, Miles, last week, that the Rockies' Achilles' heel has been the first inning so far. Like they gave
First
up
and sixth.
So many runs.
Yeah. There it is.
They just gave
But we're
up
best
so
in the
many
second.
runs.
So good.
So good.
Best at being second.
So maybe we should just throw Ottavino in the first inning, and then our starter pitcher, like you were saying last week.
Might be
Like,
interesting, actually,
what if
to
we
see
threw in
what
a
happens
reliever to start the game?
I don't know if it should be on Ottavino, maybe like Scott Oberg or someone.
Okay, all right.
Like Ottavino, he's too valuable in the 7th and the 8th inning. You don't want to use him up
Yeah.
right away. So, I mean, I'll be fine with that. It's trying something new. Rockies
I
did
think we need to
awful in
keep
the first inning.
Ottavino in the 7th, 8th. Don't even put him in the 9th unless he's striking everybody out.
And until his confidence is back up. I mean, he just did not look like himself today. At all.
No, he just wasn't hitting the zone at all.
And he seemed so emotional, but not in the way you want your player to be emotional. Like, you want that emotion
When did he come
to
in?
be passionate, not
The
to be
ninth.
He
flustered.
came in the ninth?
And
Mhm.
just
And that's-
so flustered.
So, going back to the whole closer conversation, why would it, going back to like what you were saying, Gid, why would it be, I mean, I understand the role change aspect of things, but if you think about how many different offenses we see and how many different batters, they can forecast, all right, Wade Davis is closing if they're up. This is what we need to do against Wade Davis.
Yeah.
What has happened against Wade Davis?
Yeah.
Earned runs.
Well,
4
and
losses. But
so Wade Davis, he's kind of got the whole John Gray thing going right now, where he is.
that's why I'm saying, like,
He's
put
tied.
Owen as another closer and then give him that quote-unquote John Gray down to the Triple A's. Give him that mental shock.
Right?
No, I'm not saying put Wade Davis
Yeah.
in the Triple A's. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is give him some inconsistency based on his role in the team.
Something needs to be shook up.
Yeah.
Well, Wade Davis, he's tied for the league lead in saves. He's also leads the league in blown saves. So he is the
I
best.
mean, that's on average. You're gonna.
So he is the best at what he's paid to do, but he's also screwed up more than anybody else.
Yeah, percentage-wise, he's probably breaking even or so.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact numbers for what you're saying, but
So he's got 31 saves, 6 blown saves.
okay, so
Leads-
definitely not even.
tied for the league in saves, leads the league in blown saves.
So what do you do with that? I'm
He's
just
in
thinking
he's
about
in that
from the
position
manager
a
perspective.
lot.
Like, that's tough. That's tough.
I mean,
to
I think
navigate.
you stick with him because he's done the best at what he's paid to do,
He's also
but he's also screwed it up a lot.
Yeah, that's hard. That would be a hard decision to make. We've got 7 games coming up at home. So we've got a 3-game series against the Pirates and then a 4-game series against the Dodgers. And especially that series against the Dodgers, we cannot afford to blow. We can't.
Do you think
Any
we
division series we can't
need-
blow
Right.
this one.
But a
I mean,
4-game, I mean,
Yeah.
so much can change in a 4-game series regarding the NL West.
Like I think the Rockies
much.
need to take 3 out of 4.
Yes,
If
absolutely.
not 4 out of 4. Because splitting the series, taking 2 out of 2, that gets us
Does
nowhere.
nothing.
I don't know a lot about the Pirates. So what do
They're
you
good.
think are the odds of the Pirates giving the Rockies a chance to kind of get their groove back and get back in sync and get their confidence up? Is that plausible against the Pirates, or is that going to be another hard-fought series?
They're really in the exact same position as the Rockies.
Okay.
They are out of the division lead by a few games. They are barely out of the wild card. So they're fighting for the same playoff spot that the Rockies are.
And to me, this is, other than playoff baseball, this is the most interesting time of the baseball season in my mind, because you have these teams that are fighting for playoff position, and then it gets even scrappier once you're under 30 games left, because people are treating the wild card like it's the Super Bowl.
Right.
And it's like, we are going to come show out to every single matchup that we play because we need to win. And I think you're right, Jordan, that these 4 against the Dodgers are all must-win games, but playing against the Pirates beforehand, I think, will be very beneficial to prepare us to have the right mindset. Because it's not like we're going to be playing a team where it's like, all right, we're going to win, we're at home. Like, no, you still have to go out there, pitch well, hit well, even though we might be looking more forward to the Dodgers series. You can't get ahead of yourself, and you got to still acknowledge that the Pirates are fighting just as hard as we are to be in the postseason.
And unfortunately, if the slump the Rockies seem to be in continues against the Pirates, it makes me incredibly fearful for how things will pan out against the Dodgers. I feel like our performance against the Pirates is a absolute deciding factor in how our performance will be against the Dodgers.
Yeah. One, we lost a series against the Cardinals and the Brewers, but they're both good teams. Like, it's not like we lost to bad teams.
That's fine. I get that. But, like,
if we
it
lose the
doesn't
series to the
matter.
Pirates,
You
like, the
lose,
Pirates,
you
they're
lose.
good
Like,
teams.
but if we want to get to the playoffs and we actually want to make this happen, we have to win against the good teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Or else you don't get a seat at the table.
Or we'll make the playoffs, but then we'll lose
In a
because
game.
we're playing against those good teams in the playoffs.
Wild card,
It's
1-game series nonsense.
We
Like,
play 162 games, but you get one game.
I
in
can't
the
take
playoffs.
a single ounce of comfort to, well, we lost with their good teams, because we're too good for that anymore. We
Unfortunately,
have to win against those good teams if we want a seat at the table.
and unfortunately, the aspect of that's probably the least pleasing is the fact that Nolan might be walking if that is the case. We lose against good teams, he will walk
I
to a
wouldn't
team
say
that
might
wins.
be. I would say he absolutely will be gone.
I was
And
trying to be
the
nice, but
Rockies
yeah,
not.
for sure.
Yeah, I'm not playing nice anymore. The Rockies need to win.
They do. Yes.
These past 2 series have not been acceptable.
No.
And I can't take comfort in we lost against good teams. It's not okay.
But the previous, 5 series before that, the Rockies were amazing.
Yes, where'd that go? And how is it going to get fixed, and will it be improved by tomorrow at 6:40 p.m.?
Well, the Rockies have the hardest schedule of any team moving forward for the rest of the
Right,
season.
exactly. So
So
it's
it's like,
not
if
like
they make
there's
the
a
playoffs,
respite
they earn
in
that.
sight. You know what I mean? Like, they've got to push through this, and they have to do it now. All that being said, super uplifting Rockies talk. The Denver Broncos training camp is in full swing, and Broncos country has been showing up. Apparently, attendance has been through the roof. We expect nothing less from our glorious fellow fan base.
Supporting the Rockies. Wait, why were we wearing
So,
purple?
purple. Absolutely go Rockies. But in terms of all of the purple at Broncos training camp, that was in bringing awareness to Alzheimer's, which, as we know, Mr. Pat Bolin has suffered from for quite a few years now, and now Annabelle, his wife, has also been diagnosed with. It's heartbreaking.
So you're on a first name basis with her, but not Pat?
No, he's Mr. Pat, but Annabelle and I
Okay.
go to happy hour once a week. We're besties. That's true. And Mrs. Annabelle Bullen. I'm just really impressed by the team as a whole and the current powers that be of the Broncos really making a concerted effort to raise money and bring awareness to Alzheimer's, which is a disease that is something that probably everyone out there knows someone in their life who has been impacted. Jordan, you know a little bit more monetarily of what they were able to accomplish.
Yeah, I was watching the NFL Network today.
Great
they were at
source.
Broncos training camp, and I don't remember the exact number, but it was about $40,000 that the attendance at training camp chipped in over the last couple of days. And then Joe Ellis came out and said that the Broncos would match that amount. So they raised about $80,000 for Alzheimer's awareness.
I think it goes to show how much love there is for the Bolin family. People are obviously very generous and charitable, I feel like, as a whole in terms of our fellow Coloradans. But I do think a lot of that is fueled by the love for the Bolins. There's a huge push this season, as there has been in past, for Pat to get into the Hall of Fame. So hopefully that is around the corner for next year.
Hopefully.
But just great to see the fan base come out so much, and then obviously for Joe Ellis to say they'll match that. Hopefully we'll make a big impact and get some research done and find some possible cures. It's a terrifying disease.
Yeah, and it just shows just how amazing the Broncos family is. The fact that the Broncos were 5-11 last year, and training camp has been full of people wanting to go see the Broncos this year. It's like, I've never even been to training camp.
Me neither.
You guys are terrible
I need
fans.
to get out there.
No, but it is very impressive, and it makes you really proud to be part of this Broncos fan base. Not only because they're raising donations for Alzheimer's research, but it makes you proud to know that these are your neighbors, these are your coworkers, the people that you get your groceries from. Everyone, it seems like, are fans, but it's very heartwarming to see the amount of support that they brought, and not even knowing it, like going to training camp and they're being asked to donate for Alzheimer's research. Like, they're opening their wallets for a great cause and no hesitation whatsoever. I think typically on a day at training camp, there's no more than maybe a couple thousand people.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Like a good day is
I
like
wonder.
5,000.
Yeah, but $40,000 over a week, like, that's everyone chipping in $1
I think it was like
every
a couple
single day.
days, too.
So I mean, when you break it down like that, it's not very much for a single person, but when it's accumulated and put into a giant pool, it's good to see that hope is not lost for our society.
Right.
I mean, Broncos fans are the best fans, but they're not
We're
the only
still
good
not
people
biased.
in this world, and I'm sure that other fan bases also do amazing things. But I don't know, it just makes me proud not only to be a Broncos fan, but to know that these are the people that you interact with on a day-to-day basis, and we're all just people. I don't know.
Exactly.
Well, it just shows how much Denver appreciates what Pat Bowlen has done for the city. He's never really disappointed Denver. Broncos have had bad seasons in the past, but Broncos have been such a staple in the city for a long time. And it just shows that the Broncos fans appreciate him.
And Pat Bowlen's mantra's pretty much always been, we want to be the best in everything.
Mm-hmm.
And bringing that kind of mindset to the table has slowly bled into everyone else's mentality. And the way Pat Bowlen has operated the Broncos over, was it like 25 years now or something? 30?
At least.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
Like, he's always made it a point to have the Broncos in a good position. We've had some shitty years here and there, but the Broncos fans have never gotten to a point where it's like, oh, I'm getting up and I'm
Right.
ready. I'm gonna be
Well,
I'm gonna
The
be a
true
Raider.
Just
fans
like-
are so loyal.
Well, and just the stat alone, that the Broncos have been to more Super Bowls than they've had losing seasons since he's been the owner. Like,
And
that
we-
alone is...
Since 84.
84, since before any of us were
35
born.
years.
Yeah, 34.
35.
Wow.
35.
Give
or
or
take.
I'm getting ahead
Yeah.
of
And,
myself.
Right around
and I
there.
think that's a big
Round up.
part
It's already
of why
2020 in my head.
we've got to do better this season because we have not had 2 consecutive losing seasons under Pat Bowlen.
No.
And I think that's part of why Broncos country turns out, is to, like, cheer on our team and say, hey, like, we're still here. We're going to scream our faces off. We're excited to watch you play. Last season's done. Let's go out and let's kick some butt and let's make it happen.
Right.
And Pat has, I think, set a great example for Colorado as a whole. And his players, there's so many exceptional players who go out into the community and make wonderful things happen. And so we're going to start doing a player profile. And this week we're going to talk a little bit about Chris Harris Jr. and the Chris Harris Jr. Foundation. Chris Harris Jr. Foundation was formed in 2012 to provide underprivileged youth with unique opportunities so they can more adequately achieve their goals. Each summer, Chris holds his Underdog Academy for football and cheer camp in his hometown of Tulsa, Oklahoma, teaching athletes football fundamentals and lessons in leadership. That's something that I think is really important, is the lessons in leadership. Obviously, you've got kids coming out that are excited about the game, they want to learn, but it's also instilling in them how important it is to be a good person and to have those leadership skills and show respect and integrity and teamwork to those around them. And Chris's foundation has done a lot of work around town, especially with Big Brothers and Big Sisters program. And the next upcoming event by the Chris Harris Jr. Foundation is on Monday, September 17th. It's called Coats for a Cause, and it'll be at Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar in Inglewood. And essentially, it's $80 a ticket, and it's a wine tasting, appetizers, and night with the Denver Broncos. So to come out and meet players. So if you are interested, you can get a ticket for that, or on a more basic level that you can help and donate. They're accepting donations of coats and winter boots at Fleming's. And if you go in and donate coats or boots, you get a $25 off any bottle of wine at Fleming's. And so I love that Chris is going out and actively making a difference in the community. And so much of the focus of his foundation is about the underdog. And Chris is the quintessential underdog, undrafted, fought hard, and has been a staple on the Broncos for years.
And he's
just
never
been
been cocky
exceptional.
about it. Like,
Right.
He's always been one of the best cornerbacks in the league, and he doesn't really talk about it, which I respect that so much about him.
And when you have a platform and you go out and you choose to take your time and your money, and more than anything, your status, and make a positive impact in your community, I think that's the most we can ask of our professional athletes. And those faces, those guys that we watch week in and week out, and more Bronco players than not are out there making a difference, which is part of why we want to talk about them. So, Chris Harris Jr., thank you for everything you do on the field and especially off the field.
Yes. I have your jersey, brah.
I'm also staring at your signed football above my fireplace.
Yes. I also have a signed Chris Harris football.
There's a lot of Chris Harris love.
Oh, yeah.
So much.
When he's been All-Pro twice, he's been to 3 Pro Bowls, he's been in the top 100 3 times, and he was undrafted.
It's a very
It's
impressive
like,
record.
damn.
But like you said,
Philip
Alyssa,
Lindsay,
it's
follow after Chris Harris Jr.
it's very impressive to see a professional athlete not only excel on the field, but he's excelling off the field as well. And he's making it a point to go out and show kids what it's like or what it takes to be a good individual and provide for your community as much as you can. And I like the fact that he's all about the underdog since he is one himself. But overall, it's like you got to find a way to give back to your community, and the Chris Harris Foundation is a great opportunity for him to spread the word on how he believes the next generation of kids should be brought up.
Yeah, absolutely. On like a super 180 different note, Marquette King threw a little bit of a hissy fit. Now, I don't have anything against Marquette King. We don't know him well enough yet as a fan base to really have any sense of
We know him as a rival.
the big picture. We know him as a
Yeah.
rival, which if anything is kind of works against him. But
Especially
he
that
gave-
rival.
He gave a very kind of weird, disconnected interview to Stokely and Zach on the Fan today.
He had a small little good nugget in there.
I appreciate it. He had one
Just
great
one.
punchline
Yeah,
That
about
was
like
a couple days ago, Friday.
the altitude on Friday. But the whole time all I could think was like, oh, Aqib Talib is in LA, and Marquette King is a Talib 2.0.
He was, didn't even sound like Talib though. Like he just sounded so interested in talking to anybody.
So disinterested, you mean? Or,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Uninterested.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, it was
I mean-
weird. I don't know.
I was just expecting a lot of like kind of attitude and feistiness. I guess that's maybe what I'm saying. I wish he was more like a Talib 2.0 and that he had a bit more edge. But the interview was like, he talked about how he like wasn't interested in discussing football. And it just seemed incredibly
And
disconnected
it was
from the
just
entire
one-word
process.
answers.
Yeah, I think he said,
It
I don't
was-
know more than anything else.
Yeah, they answered to 3 different questions. It was, I don't know.
One, it was a scheduled interview too. It's not like it was
Like,
just a random.
you knew
interview.
this was coming.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I think
How
Marquette
much-
King is a great punter, but
Yeah, I mean, how much do you guys think? I mean, obviously that's personality, and we know his charisma and the flamboyance he brings to a team,
Right.
similar to the Talib that you mentioned. But how much do you think that is more of an acclimation to a new city, to a new team, to new coaching staff,
New fans
to
that previously hated
higher
you.
altitude? Yeah, I mean, all of it.
But I mean, even
There's someone
in
who
his
wants
interview,
attention all the
in,
time.
in
Yes.
the interview, you hear in the background a fan yell, "I love you, Marquette."
And there's no response.
I don't
no
think he's
acknowledgement.
getting shade from the fan base.
I'm not saying he's getting shade. I'm just saying an acclimation to
Yeah.
a completely different environment.
Well, and I do think it's important to give the benefit of the doubt. This is kind of his first big interview since training camp started.
If it was week 8, 9, 10, I'd be
Right.
concerned.
And people have bad days. We were talking
Yeah.
about this with the Rockies.
Mm-hmm.
Athletes are human beings. But if you're having a bad day, if you're really just not feeling it, if you're off, don't do the interview.
exactly.
Because all it does is make you look like you don't care.
Miles does make a great point, though, talking about it from an acclimation standpoint. Anybody that's gone to university, had to go through freshman orientation on campus, it's kind of awkward. And you kind of
And a
have
little
to,
daunting.
you gotta have, even though you might
Especially
not.
at a position that's so singled
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
he's,
you and a
That's
kicker.
true.
I mean, there's
When you're on
But he
special
also
teams,
did
it's not
taunt
like
the
you
Raiders
have that
Stadium on
familial
Twitter
unit.
when he ran by it. It's
Yeah.
like
he's glad he's gone from the
So
Raiders.
maybe it really just
but-
was an off day.
Could have been.
maybe he was doing wind sprints before and he's sucking
Really
air
tired.
and needs more oxygen.
I mean, I did bring up to
Maybe
Jordan.
he
I was
didn't
like,
have as
maybe
much
it's
oxygen.
Like straight up has
His brain
altitude
wasn't
sickness,
working.
and it's just like feeling like garbage.
Yeah.
But too prideful to be like, hey, I really don't feel good. I can't do this interview, so tries to suck it up and do it, but then flops.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know.
Might be a bit of both. I mean,
it's like as long as he's good at his job, that's all I care about.
We
in the
know
long
he's
run.
good at his
But
job.
the
We're
way
paying him to
he,
kick
the
a
way
ball,
he
not
wants
interview.
his personality, like I figured
I
he
think
would
it
have been
was.
a great
I think
interview.
it was just an upset of expectations. You expect
Some
charisma
character.
and
Yeah.
yes, character and feistiness, and then you get. I don't know.
Well, if
You're like,
Riley
wait,
Dixon would have done that interview, we would have been like, "Oh, that's fine." Like,
They
he's
never
a
would
punter.
have
It's Riley Dixon
interviewed.
as a punter,
They
yeah.
never would have interviewed Riley Dixon.
How much
The
are
only
we paying
reason
him?
we
5
ever
million?
interviewed
7
Colquitt
million?
was when he played the.
I don't know what we're
This
paying.
guy's
Chiefs.
not
Yeah.
just a punter.
brother.
I mean, well, he's just a punter.
He's
but
a star punter,
he's
though,
getting
and
paid
there's very few star
bank.
punters in the league. So we'll see. I'm hoping it was just a weird day, and he comes back with a.
we'll love
I
you
just hope
as
he
long as
plays
you lead the
well.
league inside the 5-yard
No more
line.
interviews. Just play well. That's all I want.
And I feel very confident that he is capable of playing well.
I wouldn't
Penalties.
necessarily want the inside the 5. I'd want like 8-second, 9-second hang times.
Oh,
Oh.
Just get everyone and surround the returner before he even catches the ball.
When he's got that leg,
He does.
totally do
Yep.
that.
put it up there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was watching some clips from practice from training camp, and I mean, his coffin corner accuracy is a little scary.
No, he's
In
like
a good way.
he's like the
incredibly
Tiger Woods
talented.
of punting.
We'll just hope that nobody comes after him with a kickstand or something.
Yes.
Like his wife did. Tiger's wife did.
That was a golf club.
No, yeah, I'm
was
saying
when,
like a kickstand for
Oh,
football.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You get where I'm going. Yeah.
Using his equipment against him.
Exactly.
Never something you want to have happen to
Using his
you.
equipment against
It
him.
goes so many ways. The Nuggets. Brief one topic Nuggets update. Gideon has a tidbit for us.
Yeah,
you
this
even
is
game, bro?
This is fun and lighthearted. I used to game in some NBA 2K. No longer do that. Shout out to NBA Live. EA Sports doing something right.
They're pulling some fan base from 2K for sure.
But Michael Porter Jr. got his Twitter fingers going since he's recovering from back surgery. And his Twitter tweet? I don't tweet, so yes, his tweet was, who in Denver is looking to play some 2K for that money? And I think a lot of fans just liked it, thinking this guy's joking,
Retweet,
whatever, retweet. But 3 lucky fans were able to show up to MPJ's home, and the first fan, I think, put up $300, and unfortunately for that fan, lost. Apparently, MPJ is a master on the sticks, and he won some shoes from contender number 2.
Do we know what roster they're playing with? What teams?
I'm not sure. No.
Okay.
No. I'm sure. Yeah,
Maybe
probably
like a finals rematch.
MPJ could be playing, with Cleveland and
he's like, all right,
super clutch with LeBron James or something.
I think it's
hilarious.
But I mean, he also said that he likens himself to Kevin Durant, and he might be better than Kevin Durant. So that's a very heavy statement coming from a rookie who is recovering from back surgery. But no, it's good to see him reaching out to the fans and connecting to the people that are going to be rooting for him once he is able to come out onto the court.
I like it. I think it's hilarious. I think it's fun.
It's pretty cool.
And if you're like holed up recovering from surgery, why not?
I mean, you're going to play some video
relationships?
games.
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
Is he addicted to video games though?
I don't think we.
I mean, we don't need him getting carpal tunnels from too much 2K.
Maybe that's how he injured his back. We don't know.
A little too much Wii bowling. All right, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been 5280 Film Room. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at 5280 Film Room, or email us at 5280filmroom@gmail.com. We will catch you guys next week. Thank you so much. Bye.
We out.
Peace.